Breakdancing power moves explained. What are power moves? They are the high energy, athletic, and acrobatic part of breakdancing. They start off easy with moves you can get in weeks or months, and it ends with moves that take years. Power moves are the opposite of the style portion of breakdancing. The style portion is where you make up your own moves. Power moves are defined moves, but people do come up with new variations and new combinations of the power moves all the time. So if you're new to breakdancing and have no idea what you are seeing, here's a breakdown of the different power moves and some of the variations that you see. The first power move was the backspin. Not really considered a power move anymore. It's about a 1 month of training type of move. It's pretty easy, usually the first power move that you do. Next, floats, turtles, spins. Some of the names are regional, so it depends what part of the world you're in and who you talk to. The older people might call it turtle spins. I call it floats. But this power move starts the preparation for your wrists, so it's a very early move that you learn, and it leads to a lot of other moves. So windmill is pretty dependent on having a good float or a freeze, which is kind of a part of a float. But it's performed, it's not really performed anymore these days unless you do a really hard variation like a jackhammer. If you can do a jackhammer, that's really cool, very impressive. It's essentially a float on one arm. Now we have windmill, a very iconic breakdancing move. It has been called continuous backspin, but nobody calls it that anymore. The move was created in the early 80s, late 70s. Here's a plain version of windmill, and there are many variations of this move, and it's a pretty cool move. It's usually the first hard power move that people get. Most breakdancers can do windmill, and then that's when that's kind of a sticking point for a lot of breakdancers. That's where the people kind of choose whether they're going to go the power move route or the style route. Next up, 1990s. I don't make up the names. I don't like this name. There's probably way cooler names for this, but too late. We're stuck. Now we got to live with it. So a 1990 is a move that you can do once you master handstands. You just spin on one hand, and there are many variations of this move, and it's really fun to do. It's a really cool sensation spinning on one hand. Makes you feel really cool. 2000s. Again, I don't make up the names. Another variation of a 90, and by the way, 90 is the cool way of saying 1990, so most breakers just call it 90s. 2000 is the same as a 90, but you're using two hands, and oddly enough, it's actually harder to do, but if you can do it, you can spin a lot more than in a 1990. Cool move. Master swipes, it's sort of iffy if this is a power move, so we have basic swipes, and then we have master swipes. Master swipes is the cooler variation of swipes, and it leads into moves like Airflare. But if someone says it's not a power move, don't fight them because it's kind of borderline. Headspins, the most iconic move in breakdancing. There are two forms of this move. One's called tapping, where you put your hands on the ground to generate more rotation. That's the first way that you're going to learn it. You're going to tap. And when you master the tapping, you can start doing what's called gliding. So that's where you don't use your hands and you keep spinning on your head. So gliding is probably the closest sensation to flying because you're on this really small part of your head. It's a really, really, really cool feeling when you're gliding because when you're going fast, you can really feel gravity tugging on you. And people go pretty apey when they see that move, especially kids. Kids love that move. Flares. Breakers took this from gymnastics, and breakdancers have done a lot of variations of this really cool move. Bboy Bram is got probably the funkiest variation of flare that I've seen. He almost goes into a mana in the front part. It's a very hard move. Not a lot of people can do multiple flares. It really challenges you because there's a big technique aspect. You need to be pretty flexible, and the strength is very interesting type of strength. You got shoulder strength, your wrists need to be really strong, and you have to have good hip flexor strength because you need good leg control. You got to raise your legs. above your belly button. So handstand press and doing levers. Very hard move. Lastly, the hardest power move out there, Airflares. Not everybody gets this move. It's the culmination of technique, flexibility, and some strength. This move was created by breakers in the late 90s. And then gymnasts took this move from us. So breakdancers copied flare, and then we gave gymnasts air flare.
And here we go. This is that air flare. It'll happen right after the first one.
So cool.
Right there and there.
It's effortless, isn't it? It looks so easy.
And it is not. It is not easy at all.
Air flare also makes really, really cool pictures. This is a move. I don't have it yet, but if I did, I would do it all over the world in public. It's just a move that makes you feel like a real badass. And that's it. Those are all the basic power moves. So now you know what you're looking at when you look at those videos. You can sound smart and say, oh, that's an air flare.